morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Atul from Intellipaat, and I welcome you all to this YouTube session on web scraping using Python. Web scraping is a term which is used to describe the use of a program or an algorithm to extract and process large amount of data from the web. Whether you are a data scientist or an engineer or anybody who wants to analyze large amount of data sets, then the ability to scrape data from the web is a useful skill that you should have. Let's say you find data from the web and there is no direct way to download it. Then, web scraping using Python is a skill which you can use to extract the data into a useful form so that it can be imported for further analysis. Well, this was just a quick overview of web scraping. So before we dive deep into web scraping, let me just discuss the agenda for today's session. We'll start this session with a basic introduction to web scraping, where you will learn about what exactly is web scraping, how it differs from web crawling, and what are the various applications of web scraping. During our session, we'll also discuss about the legality of web scraping to know whether web scraping is a legal thing to do or not. Once done with this, we'll move to the demo part where I'll show you how you can scrape the data from the web using Python libraries, Request and BeautifulSoup. For this tutorial session, it would be good if you have a basic knowledge of HTML tags. If not, then don't worry. I'll discuss some of the basic HTML tags during this session. I hope the agenda is clear to you guys. So without delaying any further, let's quickly jump into web scraping basics. So what is web scraping? Well, web scraping, also known as screen scraping, web data extraction, web harvesting, etc. is basically a technique which is used to extract large amount of data from the websites. These data are mostly unstructured in nature. And once extracted, you can transform it to a structured data and save it to a local file in your computer or to a database in a tabular or a spreadsheet format. The data displayed by most of the website can only be viewed using a web browser. And most often, they do not offer the functionality to save a copy of this data for personal use. Only option then you have is to manually copy and paste the data, which is a very tedious job and can take many hours or sometimes days to complete. Now using web scraping, you can automate this process. So instead of manually copying the data from the website, the web scraping algorithm will perform the same task within a fraction of time. So this was about what is web scraping. Let's move ahead. Now next we have, is web scraping or web crawling the same thing? Well, there is a very subtle difference between web scraping and web crawling. Moreover, web scraping and web crawling are interrelated. The words web scraping and web crawling may look similar and many people use this word very frequently, but both have lots of differences between them. In simple terms, web crawling is the process of repetitively finding and fetching hyperlinks starting from a list of starting URLs. Broadly speaking, web crawling is a process of locating information on World Wide Web, indexing all the words in a document, adding them to a database, then following all hyperlinks and indexes, and even adding that information to the database. Major search engines like Yahoo, Google, Bing, etc. all have such a program, which is also known as a web spider or a bot. But when you see, on the other hand, web scraping is a process of automatically requesting a web document and collecting information from it. Strictly speaking, to do web scraping, you have to do some degree of web crawling to move around the websites. Web crawling is generally what major search engines do for searching any kind of information. Web scraping is essentially targeted at specific websites for a specific data. For example, stock market data, business leads, or supplier product scraping, anything like that. But an important thing to know is that web scraper can do things a web crawler wouldn't do. For example, they doesn't obey the robot.txt. I'll tell you in detail what exactly it is later in this session. But now just understand that they doesn't obey robot.txt. It is a file which tells that what you can crawl and what you cannot. So web scraper does not obey that robots.txt file. Don't worry, later on we'll read about it in detail. Next is submit forms with data, or execute JavaScript, or transforming the data into required form and format, or even saving the extracted data into database. So these are the things a web scraper can do, but a web crawler cannot. I hope you guys are clear with the difference. So moving on ahead, let's learn about some of the use cases of web scraping, or under what business scenario you could use web scraping. So on number one we have tracking competitive pricing. Well, web scraping helps in extracting products or service price of the competitors to stay ahead of the cutthroat competition. Next is sentiment analysis. Well, sentiment analysis is analyzing the reaction or response of a customer or a consumer. Using web scraping, it can be easily traced by extracting ratings, reviews, and feedbacks on forums as well as e-commerce websites. Next, we have market research. When you are planning for a product or a service launch, then you can use web scraping to study the market in advance and it can help you out for the product campaign's launch. Next is industry scrutinization. Most of the time, you and your business would demand to know that who all are present in terms of market player. So in this case again, web scraping can surely help a big time. Next is content aggregation. Well, if you want to gather information from multiple documents or web server for further processing, then what you can do? Then you can just web scrape the data, then you can just process the unstructured data and convert it into a organized structured data. And it can be further used as a real-time information. Next is monitoring brand value. You can make future decisions easily and very accurately by analyzing the brand value on scraped filter data related to your brand, along with some positive and negative keywords. Next we have is the lead generation. Well, you can use the scrapped data to identify who to target in a company for your outbound sale campaign. You can even use it to locate possible leads in your target market or identify right contacts within each one. Well, this was some of the business application of web scraping. Well, if you research out there, you will find out n number of other business application for web scraping. Now, since that you are fetching data from a different website. So now that you have seen various business use cases of web scraping, and you know that what you do in web scraping is you fetch the data from other websites. So a question might arise in your mind, like, is web scraping or web crawling a legal thing to do? Well, the answer is maybe. Crawling means fetching content from the web pages in an automated manner rather than to manually opening each page in your browser. The calls made by the browser agent to the target server that hosts the web page is quite similar to the way the bot hits a page to grab its content. So now the question arises, why is crawling a taboo among those who only have learned to use the term? Well, it's mostly because it's quite often used against the website policies and breaks the ground rule of crawling. So here are some thumb rules that you must follow if you want your bot to behave humanly. The first one being robots.txt. Well, be it a commercial or a non-commercial, Indian, American or any website, one of the easiest way to find out which websites allow scraping and which doesn't is simply by checking their robots.txt file. You can do it by appending /robots.txt at the end of the website URL you wish to scrape. For example, what if I want to check the robot.txt file for Amazon.com? So I'll just write www.amazon.com/robots.txt. So as you can see here, it gave me a list of allowed and disallowed links which can be crawled. You can consider this as a filter consent form that you should abide by if you want to crawl that site. It tells you what URLs you can and what you cannot crawl. This is really bot specific. Even Google's bot cannot crawl a blog page unless the site is worried about the page's SEO. Next is the public content. We'll crawl only public content keeping copyright policies in mind. If you are crawling a site only to reproduce the same content on a new site of yours, then good luck with that. You can easily do that. It's a very legal thing and no one is gonna pose you or sue you for that. Next is terms of use. Check the website's terms of use and make sure all's well between them and you. You should definitely read the terms and condition of a website you want to scrape. If the data is under Creative Commons, you should definitely read the terms and condition of a website you want to scrape and check if the data is under the Creative Commons that you can use it commercially. So basically, if terms and conditions states that scraping is illegal, then you shouldn't scrape that website. Next is authentication based websites. Well, some sites need authentication before you could access their content, and mostly they would discourage crawling because they only want real human beings to get logged in. Next is crawl delay. Robots.txt also lists delay to be maintained between consecutive crawls to ensure you're not hitting their servers too hard. If you overload them with requests, chances are that your IPs will be blocked. Let me tell you about an ongoing case between LinkedIn versus HIQ. In August 2017, LinkedIn blocked HIQ from accessing its data available in public LinkedIn profiles of registered users. So what these HIQ guys were doing, they were just extracting information from LinkedIn. All the public information, all your public profiles which were being extracted by HIQ. So what LinkedIn did, it blocked the company from accessing its data. HIQ took LinkedIn to the court and the case is still ongoing. The case hinges on the question of who owns a piece of data and the circumstances under which the information can be viewed as residing in the public domain, accessed by all and sundry. The appeals court judges may rule that LinkedIn owns exclusive right to the data, which would not have been compiled without the entrepreneurial talents of the LinkedIn founders. Conversely, the judges may conclude that since LinkedIn users set their profiles to public, placing them in full view of search engine and general web surfers, they are giving companies like HIQ free rein to view and use the data as they see fit. So it's a knife-edge decision with strong arguments on both sides. Either ruling could have profound implication for how people like you and me interact with the data in your daily lives. So this was a story of how HIQ breached the policy of LinkedIn by web scraping their data. So as you know that for this tutorial I'll be scraping using Python. So what are the basic Python libraries that I'll be using for web scraping? Well, the first one is the request, which is used for fetching URLs. It defines the functions in class to help with the basic URL actions like digestion, authentication, redirection, cookies, etc. Next is the BeautifulSoup. Well, it is an incredible tool for pulling out information from a web page. You can use it to extract tables, lists, paragraph, and you can also put filters to extract information from web pages. BeautifulSoup does not fetch the web page for us. That's why I'm using the combination of both request as well as the BeautifulSoup library. Python has several other options for HTML scraping in addition to BeautifulSoup like Mechanize, ScrapeMark, Scrapey, etc. Don't worry, we'll discuss about them in our next tutorial. For this tutorial, we'll be just focusing on BeautifulSoup and requests. So let's move ahead. Well, while performing web scraping, you will have to deal with HTML tags. Thus, it's very important that you must have a good understanding of them. If you already know the basic of HTML, it's good. But for those who don't, I'll try to cover the basic for you guys in just 2 minutes. Here's a basic HTML code. The first line, !doc_type HTML. It indicates that this particular HTML file is written in HTML5. So basically all the HTML5 documents must start with it. Next is the HTML tag. All the HTML documents are contained between an opening and a closing HTML tag. Next we have is the opening body tag. Well, this is the visible part of HTML document. Like whatever you see on the web page is mentioned inside the body tag. Next is the body tag. Well, it is the visible part of HTML document. Like whatever you see on a web page is enclosed between a body tag. Next we have is the H1 tag. Well, HTML headings are defined with the H1 to H6 tag. There are 6 different types of heading which are defined as H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6. For example, H1 is the main heading, then H2 is a subheading and so on. After headings comes the paragraph. For paragraph we have a P tag over here. This tag is used to define a paragraph. There's the ending body tag and the ending HTML tag. Let's move ahead. Next we have is the table tag. Don't get confused with this style thing. The main tag over here is table. The style is just one of the attribute of a table. Like it's telling that the width of the table should be 100%. We represent the row as tr tag and the rows are divided into data using the td tag. For example, I mention a name over here like James. James is a data of a row. It's a cell. Fine. We add another data to same row, James Smith. Another data to the same, like 45. So first name, last name and age are being added to same row, tr. Now again, what if I want to add elements to my next row? So again, I'll define another row, tr. Then again, I'll write first name, last name and the age. And then again, close the tr tag or the row tag. These are some of the basics. See what we have next. Next we have up here is the a tag. Well, a tag is used for hyperlinking text with some websites. For example, this is my entire tag. What we have up here is ahref equals www.intellipaat.com. So this is the tag. And what is my text that has to be hyperlinked to this website? It's visit to learn. Then we close the tag. So this entire thing is known as element. Ahref part is the opening tag or the A tag. And inside that we have attribute name as href and attribute value as www.intellipaat.com. Moving ahead, we have the enclosed tag content to visit to learn more, which will be hyperlinked to www.intellipaat.com. And finally, we have a /a as the closing tag. So this was all about the basic HTML tags which I'll be using in this session. If you want to learn more about HTML tags in detail, you will find multiple online sources freely available for you. You can just learn about HTML in detail from those websites or content. For this session, I'm considering all of you have a brief idea about the HTML basics. Let's start scraping our website. So we'll be scraping a web page using BeautifulSoup. Here I'll be scraping a data from a Wikipedia page, and our final goal is to extract list of country from it. Let's scrape out Wikipedia step by step. So we'll be writing our Python code on our Jupyter notebook. Well, for those of you who don't have Jupyter Notebook installed in your machine, I'd suggest that you can just go over to www.anaconda.com/downloads, and from there you can install the Anaconda Navigator. Anaconda Navigator already have pre-installed Jupyter Notebook in it, and you can just hit the launch button to start the Jupyter Notebook. So this is my Anaconda Navigator. I'll hit over the launch button and my Jupyter Notebook will start on my default browser. So let's start. So the very first thing that I want to do is to import the library used to query a website. For this, I'll be importing requests. Now what I want to fetch, so I need to mention a URL. So specify the URL. URL will be a Wikipedia link. So wiki_link equal. So this is the link. So this is the list of different Asian countries by area. And what I want to do, I want to extract this particular column from here. Like I want to extract country from this table, all the different countries. So let's just copy this up, paste it over here. So this is my wiki link. It's a string. I need to convert this URL as a text, so I'll just write my link equal requests dot get wiki link to text. Fine. Execute it. No error. Let's move ahead. If you want to check if the links are fetched correctly or not, just write print link and hit enter. So yeah, so it's executed and I think it's working fine. So as you can see here, it fetched me all the different links from that particular web page. So my next task is to parse the data returned from the website. For that, I'll be using BeautifulSoup. So I'll be importing from BS4, I'll import BeautifulSoup. Then I'll define a variable soup equal BeautifulSoup. Inside that I'll pass my variable link and LXML. So what I did up here, I parsed the HTML in the link variable and stored it in BeautifulSoup format. So now what I'll do, I'll use the function prettify. So now if you print soup, let's see what is the output. Now even not much readable, but yeah, it passed the HTML from the link variable. So next what I'll do, let's prettify it. So using prettify function, I'll get a nested structure of HTML page. This will help me to see the structure of the HTML tags. This will also help you to know about the different available tags and how you can play with these and extract information. So for it, all you have to do is just write print soup.prettify. Fine, execute it, and it's done. So here you got a nested structure of HTML page. Cool. Fine. Next we'll work with the HTML tags. So basically the general syntax for it is soup.tag. That's it. For example, I want to fetch out the title. So I'll write soup.title. Execute it. So my title is list of Asian countries by area / Wikipedia. Now, what if I just want the string part of it? Now, what if I don't want these tags over here? I just want the string from up here. Like I just want list of Asian countries by area - Wikipedia. So what I'll do, I'll just write over here soup dot title, and from that I just need the string part. Execute it. So yeah, you got the string without the tags. Fine. Now let's move ahead and check out what are the various links in this particular web page. So for that, what I want to fetch the a tags. So soup.a. So all you can see is that we have only one output. Now to extract all the links which have a tags in it, so we'll use find underscore all function, like soup.find underscore all. Inside that, mention a. Execute it. Alright. So it's showing me all the links including titles, links and other information. Fine. Now to show only the links, we need to iterate over each tag and then return the link using the attribute href with a get. Fine. So for that, what you'll do, let's see. For example, I just want the links. So let's define all link. So let's define a variable all link equal soup dot find underscore all with a tag. Now for link in all underscore link, then print link dot get href. Fine. Let's execute it. Invalid syntax. Sorry. Execute it. So yeah. So what you got up here is all the href link. Fine. Now coming to our main task. So our main task was to extract these country from this particular table. So what I want to do, I want to find the right table. So as we are seeking a table to extract information about the country, so we should identify the right table first. So let's write the command to extract information within all the table tags. So all underscore tables equal soup dot find underscore all. Inside that, pass the table tag. Alright. So this will fetch me all the table tags. If you print it, print all underscore tables, you'll see that we have all the different table tags up here. Fine. Now we have to identify which one is the right table. So we'll use the attribute of class of table and use it to filter the right table. So how you are expecting that you are going to check this class? So if you open your Chrome, let me just open my Chrome, open that particular website or web page, hit enter. You can just check the class name by right click on the required table of the web page and select the inspect element. For example, I need the class name of this. I'll do a right click over here, select inspect element. Okay, yeah, so this was my table class. Fine. The class is table, and what is the class name? Wiki table sortable. Fine. So I'll just copy the class name over here. So I'll define another variable as right underscore table such that soup dot find, and it consists of all the table tags, and which table in particular I want, which has class name as, what was its class name again? Wiki table sortable. Wiki table space sortable. Fine. So there's my right table from which I want to extract the information. Right underscore table. Let's check if it's correct or not. Yeah, it's the correct one. Rank, country, area, kilometer square, nodes. Rank, country, area, kilometer square, nodes. Fine. So this one is the correct table. Fine. Now as you can see here on the screen that all the country have some link in it. So what does it mean? So each of the link has some A tag in it. So I've already fetched the right table and all I want to do is get the correct A tag from it. So I'll define like table links as from right table dot find all, and what I want to find is my A tags. Execute it. Let's check table underscore links. So yeah, we have complete list of these countries over here. Fine. Next, what you can do, you can just import them to a data frame. For example, I'll define it empty list as country. Now for links in table underscore link, this was my variable, right? Table underscore links. Sorry, country dot append link dot get, and I just want to get the title part of each links. Fine. Execute it. Now print the entire list, like print country. Sorry, we got a wrong output over here. Okay, it was links, right? So execute it. Okay, fine. So we got the entire list of our country over here. Fine. Now all I want to do is represent them in a data frame. Fine. Let's see. So for importing it into a data frame, what I need to do, I need to import pandas. So import pandas as pd. Next, I'll define my data frame as df equal pd dot data frame. Fine. Now I'll define a header file for it. So data frame of, like, it's a country, right? So country equal this country. Fine. That's it. And print your data frame. Execute it. So you got the final output. And this is how you scrape the data from a Wikipedia page. So thank you guys, this was all for this session. In case you have any query or doubt, please feel free to add your doubt over the comment section below. Thank you.